But we see that, you know, if you want a big offering, just have the children pick it up. No big deal. So I'm going to reread what we did for this morning's call to worship. Let us come before Him with thanksgiving and exalt Him with music and song. I'm not singing. I have nothing to do with song. But I like Thanksgiving. Thank you. I do play the radio. So, marching on. My son. If he's going to overtalk me, as long as I'm bigger, he's moving on. So, well, you guys are all parents. You would understand. When you're bigger, you still have a little bit of control. As you can see, he's not quite 2 and I'm already losing control. What am I going to tell you about this morning? Well, typically, I can usually come up with stories that happened to me in my life. Whether I had stitches, I was in the hospital, or playing some sport, or I love animals. Well, we're going to the animal thing because of Thanksgiving. I saw something 2 weeks ago that I've only seen one other time in my life. Well, that's happened to me a couple times because when I went to Africa, I saw a lot of animals I normally wouldn't see. But I quickly told Rob and the guys at work, as soon as I got there, I was a little late because I saw this thing. I was headed out of Proctor, and I was driving along, and it was before I think Lay told you about the time change, I think a week ago or so, or 2 weeks ago. It was just before the time change, so when I got up in the morning, it was still kind of dark when I go to work. And I was driving down the highway, and I looked up in a tree, and there was something big in the tree. And typically I think hawk, owl, well this was way too big, And it was in a dead limb, over the road, and it was pointed so it was looking down the Otter Creek. And I said, that's so big, I got to turn around and go see what that was. Was there something up in the tree? Was it just some leaves all clustered together? What was it? So I spun my truck around. Daniel, I didn't do like a with it. I actually turned it legally around. I didn't you would like me to do like race car time. No. So I turned around and I got up to the tree, and sure, it was huge in the tree. And I drove under the tree, and I got out of my truck, and I was a little closer than I wanted to be. But as I turned around, I could see, what do you think I saw? No bear. That would have even been a better story on a dead limb over the tree, because it probably would have fell, and then that story would be great. But no, it wasn't a bear. What are generally in trees? Squirrels are, yeah, a lot bigger than a squirrel. These fly. It wasn't an owl, it wasn't a hawk. And it flies. It's a circle. That's a new circle. It was a bald eagle. How often in Vermont do we get to see bald eagles? And it was unmistakable. It was so big, and his beak and his head stuck out pure white. And then this lady actually turned around, and she was driving towards me. And as she was driving towards me, 2 dump trucks went by, and that eagle just boom, and its wings went out. And I just could not believe how big it was. And it soared all the way down the river, and I could watch it go. I had binoculars with me, and I watched it all the way down the valley. And the lady jumped out of her car, and she ran over. Is that what I think it was? Was that a real bald eagle? I've never seen one in my life. And I said, absolutely it was. And I've only seen one other in the wild, and then I, of course, saw one in a zoo. And it was just, to me, that was just magnificent to see in the morning. And I just got in my truck, and I'm driving along, and I said, thank you, God, for letting me see that. It was just, you created that, how it could just soar like that. And that is, and I was so excited about it. As soon as I got to work, I told Rob and those guys, they just kind of looked at me and said, get to work. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So we have little things and sometimes big things that we can be thankful that we get to see all the time that God blesses us with. You guys can go back to your seats. And thank you for being here with me this morning, even though I really wasn't prepared.